Do you want to know the difference between the Goblin MK2 and the TR2? I doubt it, but let's take a look anyways and compare these two semi-automatic weapons because they're almost identical in every way, except they aren't. One has significantly more firepower and the other is better in almost every other way. And not only is the TR2 one of the newest guns in Call of Duty, it's also one of the oldest. We're going to put these two mediocre guns to the test and find out which is the best of the worst guns to use in multiplayer. And to give them each the fairest chance, they're both bare bones, with no attachments, and I even used them in the same match to limit some other factors that could affect the results. But enough talking and let's dive right in. To start it off, we're going to look at the TR2. This gun is an FAL remake which was first seen in Modern Warfare 2, which was released almost 16 years ago, and that's crazy to think about because that's a heck of a long time. And it's been in many more COD titles since, and it's always been pretty good from what I remember. However, they didn't do it justice in Black Ops 6. It's always been a 3-shot weapon, which it still is, doing 44 damage per shot unless you land a headshot, which does 61 damage, meaning the TR2 is capable of hitting a 2-shot kill with some well-placed rounds. But when compared to the Goblin, the damage is pretty much the only aspect of the rifle that's any better, except for the horizontal recoil, which happens to be about a third of the spread comparatively, although it really isn't noticeable in either weapon. Aside from that, the TR2 seems to shoot incredibly slow, although the difference is only 62 rounds per minute, so when you break it down, the Goblin shoots a little over 1 more round per second, which in a 3-shot weapon can definitely make the difference between life or death, but with rapid fire on the TR2 you can raise the fire rate to almost match the MK2. Now the difference in movement speed is practically none. With a 4.7 meter per second base movement speed, the TR2 does not slow you down much more than pretty much any other gun in the game. Therefore, that won't play a huge factor in determining its usability. The handling, however, is quite sad. The reload speed for the TR2 is 3.66 seconds, which means you're going to spend a lot of time without a magazine in your gun, and that fact paired with only a 20-round magazine will be the cause for a lot of deaths, especially when you're me and you instinctually reload after every kill. Just don't do what I do and blindly run around corners while reloading and you should be good. Probably. The ADS speed and sprint to fire speed aren't terrible on the TR2, and they can definitely be improved with attachments like the Commando Grip, which lowers the ADS speed by 14% and the sprint to fire speed by another 12%. But other than that, there's nothing you can really do to improve the handling. And now that I've talked your ear off about the TR2, let's take a look at the Goblin MK2. This gun has been around since the release of Black Ops 6, and from what I've seen, it hasn't been incredibly popular. And I believe that has to do with the fact that it's worse in almost every way compared to most of the guns in game, and people tend to use the best guns like a crutch to compete with the sweatiest players. And I must say, I find myself doing that occasionally as well. But with so many options, I think it's best to try new things to keep the spice alive, if you know what I mean. The Goblin MK2 is by no means a bad gun, doing 40 damage per hit with body shots and 52 damage to the cranium. This is where the TR2 really stands against it. The only way you can 2-shot with the Goblin is by hitting 2 headshots in a row, which to be honest is pretty difficult for the average player. Although it being a 3-shot more often than not still leaves it being a little more potent than most other assault rifles, which tend to be 4 or 5-shot kills on average. The fire rate for the MK2 is 462 rounds per minute, which equals about 7.7 rounds per second. So if you land your shots and your trigger finger is quick enough, you could kill someone at about 389 milliseconds, and that's pretty damn fast. Now if only I could actually hit someone 3 times in a row. The bullet velocity for the Goblin is also about 12% better than the TR2, that being 740 meters per second versus 660 for the TR2. So those long-range shots will hit your targets just a little quicker. Also, it's worth noting the flinch resistance for the MK2 is 70% better than the TR2, so your aim will stray less from the target when you're getting peppered, making it easier to land those consecutive shots needed to take someone out. Other than that, the most notable differences between the two guns is the overall handling. The reload quickness of the Goblin MK2 is over half a second faster compared to the TR2, so once you dump all 20 rounds, which only takes about 3 seconds when you're tapping away at non-existent enemies like me, you can reload in the same amount of time it took you to empty the mag. The ADS speed is also 60 milliseconds faster, which is 20% better than its counterpart, as well as a 19% improvement in sprint to fire speed, which equals out to be 40 milliseconds faster, which you probably couldn't notice until you're staring down the barrel of your opponent's gun and they get off 4 shots as you land your third, eliminating them and effectively saving your life. That is, until you notice the C4 on the wall ahead of you and get sent straight to hell anyways. After all that nonsense, I want to know what your thoughts are on these two weapons. As much as I hate to say it, I think the Goblin MK2 is a much more well-rounded weapon, even though I personally like the FAL more for all the memories it's given me, but nostalgia does not win over functionality, and in this battle the MK2 has to win. With almost every stat beating out the TR2, there's no denying the Goblin is the best semi-automatic rifle in Black Ops 6. Let me know what guns you want to see me put to the test next, and until next time, peace.